Welcome to this after-game commentary that I'm going to give you for this one. Now it's coming out in response to the fianchettos. Different ways of grabbing the middle territory, and I decided I'm going to make this into a bit of a fortress. This is one of my famous fortress. This is what I always do, always get that key into the lock, try to jam it up and stop it from expanding. Put the knight there because for some reason people always take it. If it's a knight, if you put the pawn there, of course they can't. They'd be trading a pawn for a piece, but they put the knight there. They always seem to take it. I don't know why. And now we've got the potential of a pawn fork, so we've got to do something about that. We've got to move either the white bishop, the light-coloured bishop, or the knight, and we move the knight. Could have also checked there, but I know they would have blocked with the bishop, and I just don't want to just trade off loads of pieces. I want to play chess, not checkers. So this one also has to move now. They've decided they're going to make the pawn storm, but of course, when you push pawns early on in the opening, you weaken your position, and the entire principle of the fortress defense is all about creating a strong position. Of course, that didn't help me. That weak pawn there. This is the fianchetto does tend to steal the odd pawn here and there. That's one of the strengths of that opening, is that it can steal pawns. But I also have my eye on some weak pawns and things. I mean, that's potentially a weak pawn in a minute. Once I've traded bishops, and it's not only that, but it's a weak pawn with check we've got there. I just decided to sacrifice because then we have an unblockable check there. And we've got really his king now not in a good position anymore. And I can still castle. So, yeah, as I said, I've created another pawn there that he can take, of course, on the king's side, the king's rook. But again, the fortress is got a check. I can make that check rook sort of move across with check, or I could actually have done a check on the g2 square. Don't know how far it would have got me doing that. And doing it here would have created a fork, could have won his knight. But I don't think I saw it. So queen g2 check would have won his knight. Oh no, I did see it, beg your pardon. But again, you see, he hasn't castled yet. And I still have the right to castle. Coming here now. And it's looking pretty bad for him, really. I've got some real horrors that look come his way soon. He can't move that knight because if I take at any point his rook, his h rook, that check will win the other rook as well. So he comes out, he comes away. But my queen has places to run. My queen has places she can run. She's very mobile. She's very powerful where she is right now. She can come right down it and on. Queen on the 7th rank. Once your opponent's queen comes onto your 2nd rank or the opponent's 7th rank, you are in a whole world of trouble. Now, this isn't ideal, what's happening here, but it's not too bad for me either. So he's not doing as well as he thinks he is. Now his queen is sort of blocked in there, weirdly enough. So would you like to be black or would you like to be white in this position if you were playing? I mean, I think I'd choose black every time. The way he's kind of trapped his queen there now, she almost could get one soon. The way his king is totally exposed. I mean, queen takes knight check, wins his other rook. But certainly queen takes knight check is bad anyway for him, full stop. Now I could bring the other rook down and continue all these checks. And then the knight's not far away from joining the party. Making sure his queen remains blocked in there, and he resigns. So there's the fortress. Even with the fortress partially built, we did quite well there to defend against that pawn storm. Pawn storm early on always sacrifices structure. So that's why if you think it's a pawn storm coming, try to keep the structure. Try to make it a closed game. Try to lock it together, lock those pawns in the middle together as teeth of the lock. Again, expect him to take this knight because he thinks that by taking it, recapturing, I'll sacrifice. He thinks that the gain of that structure being slightly messed up is worth it. I don't think it is. I actually think that this pushing this pawn here is even worse for the structure than what just happened to me. I think those pawns, then now he can't castle kingside, right? And this is one of the other principles I love of my opening style, is to get the pieces on unusual squares. The knight's on an unusual square, it's going to end up on an unusual square. This can really catch out the opponent. So we castle while we can, immediately castle. And I've got escape holes for the bishop or the knight, but not both. So I have to be a bit careful here. He's castled on the queen's side, which is never quite as good castling on the queen's side somehow as it is to castle on the king's side, because you quite often have to do a little bit of work to make it really safe. As you see, he's got a gap there now. As soon as I push that pawn forward that I was looking at there, now I open up the possibility of a check with my dark-coloured bishop. And not only that, these pawns now are actually quite good for doing that. They're actually looking good for what I've done there. I'm really just pushing everything of his back now, pushing it all back. Now he's going to reposition that knight somehow. You see, it's cramping his style. All of this is cramping his style. We've got now the pawn coming forward. And, well, there's different ways of dealing with this. That wasn't the right one. At least it did keep this idea going. So it just did cost me a piece, that. But you see, this is why I say, even costing me a piece, I think my structure is better. My positional game is way better because I'm kingside castled and he's queenside castled with this problem structure. If I get my queen onto the dark coloured squares, she can, in a pinch, replace that bishop that I lost. So that's the plan there with doing that. And actually, this we're already able to put my bishop. I could put the bishop right the way over to the A file there. He can't capture because he'll lose his queen. But it's not quite the right plan. It's not quite there. It's not quite what we're looking for. So first of all, we have to do a bit more work. Maybe doubling the rooks. Certainly linking the rook there to the queen. Get that there ready now because it can pin his knight. And he's now starting to get tied in knots. He's starting to get cramped up. As you see, his attack on the queen's side, or the attack on him on the queen's side, is really going to be a little bit too much to handle in a minute. It's going to be a thing of beauty. Just retreat the queen while keeping her eye on that pawn. Otherwise, we would have lost the pawn. Now he just attacks another piece. He wants to just whittle down the pieces now because he has a piece advantage and he feels that his best bet is probably just to try and whittle down the pieces so that that advantage gets proportionately bigger and bigger and bigger, as I've said in the other video recently. When you have a single piece advantage, the fewer pieces there are, the greater the percentage advantage that becomes. So he may even be willing to trade the rook there for the bishop. I sometimes do that myself. So now we've got the possibility of knight coming to c4, attacking his queen. Can't capture with the pawn, and now his rook is under attack. And there's all sorts of horrors unfolding now for him. It's starting to become unmanageable, this. And just to here, because I don't need to move the knight yet, but that's just so that I can move the knight onto a3 with check. We're not quite there yet, are we? We're not quite there. Yeah, and now he gets rid of it because he just needs to defuse this attack. So I think that was the right move there. But I could, yeah, I think that was the right move. But still, now I can do this. And it's a bit difficult now to see how I'm going to go about the final kill. Got to bring the queen up somehow. But it's not entirely clear how we're going to go about this final kill. Of course, we've got another check at the moment. And unfortunately, this was a very bad move because it exposes his queen if his king has to move out of check, which it will have to do here. So he has no option really but to trade his queen for the knight, and that really is the end of the game now. So you see, tying him in knots, castling queenside, not the best idea. A lot of chess players seem to think that if you castle kingside, they've got a castle queenside, and vice versa, because there's one or two famous games where that was the idea. But it is not always the right thing to do. Far from it. And now we have a fork, pawn fork check, or we can just do this. So many options. Sorry, the pawn fork check was no good, actually. Yeah, that was no good. Could have taken the pawn though there for a laugh. That's the end of the game. Just too much. And look, he had no chance of a counterattack. And this was in spite of my blowing up move when I lost the bishop on that very square that the queen is on right now. So getting our attack in early, getting it in a well-coordinated fashion, counts for a lot. So keep on learning, keep on improving. You can get to 2000, I'm sure of it, if you just play enough chess and study enough. I'll catch you on the next video. That got me to 1988 on that day.